My name is Rajiv Khanna and I'm part of Raj Khanna Associates Limited. I'd like to share with you an approach that we believe will increase our chances of success and minimize the level of risk when dealing with any form of change initiatives. If you have any queries or would like to make a suggestion as to how we can improve our presentation, then please do not hesitate to contact us via our email, website, or Twitter. The approach that we recommend is not dependent on whether that initiative is being managed as a business as usual, a project, or a program. The key principles will apply regardless. Now, you may see change initiatives as using two different approaches, a free format or a structured. A free format approach may look something like this, where we've been issued a mandate, or in other words, a terms of reference by our manager, the head of the organization, or the Secretary of State. We can go through some form of a process without any kind of structure. Whatever feels right, whatever feels good, we do it, and hopefully we come to a close. And the people are changed and they move from the old way of working to a new way of working. The approach may have an involvement of some form of a corporacy or based purely on an individual's experience. Or alternatively, we invite an external consultancy firm and they use their approach. But there isn't any form of structure. What we recommend is this approach should be taken, and this is just the start, and then later on we go through and look at how some of these things are delivered. The first thing we need to identify, regardless of the change initiative, are what are the existing problems? What are the current issues and challenges? For example, the number of complaints has gone up, sales have fallen, the number of crimes being committed has gone up. And if you look at some of the authors, for example, Kotter, in their approach to change management, discuss the concept of creating an urgency for change. Packard and Harris discuss the dissatisfaction with the current state. So unless we can sell the concept of our burning platform with our stakeholders, we would find that it is highly unlikely that they want to change from the old way of working to the new way of working. Having identified the problems, let's then consider what improvements we would like to see. A number of cases, that is an opposite of the problems. So we want to decrease the number of complaints. We want to increase the number of customers that are reordering from us. We want to decrease the amount of money that is being spent on a particular process. So these improvements are referred to as benefits, which may be economic benefits, an efficiency benefit, or an effective benefit. In order for us to deliver this improvement, what do we need to do differently? As Einstein once said, in order for us to deliver improvements, we have to change the way that we work. So instead of ordering online or making phone calls, we want to actually change the process. Now, in order for us to change the process and do things differently, what tools do we actually need? And we'll take you through a simple worked examples. In terms of terminology, the existing problems are the reasons, and they are found in our business case. The improvements we like to see at high level would lead to the development of our vision statement, the end goal of the program, and more detailed work takes place from the vision is to identify the measurable benefits. So there would be keywords in here are increase and decrease. What do we need to do differently? Well, we have to change the way that we actually work. Instead of ordering online or using a phone call, we're actually going to change that process. So what is it? They are referred to as outcomes. An outcome is a verb. People are now treating or doing things differently. Also referred to as business change or transition. And what tools do we need? These are our outputs. So when we are thinking about a change of any form, we should think top down. Start with the problems and then lead down to the outputs. But as we'll see in our example, when we come to deliver, we deliver bottom up. So we'll deliver the outputs, which the users need to transition from the old way to the new. As a result of that transition, we'd show some improvements, and those improvements will remove the problems. Here's a concept we like to discuss with you. So here in some nationalities, you'll say how people may bathe. We have a cold tap and we have a hot tap. We have a bucket with a mug. So in order for us to bathe, we fill the bucket with a mixture of cold and hot water. So if there isn't a problem, well, why change? What may be the problem in this approach? Well, first of all, it might take a long time for the bucket to fill up. So we have to wait. And during that time, we cannot do anything else. When the water level gets to the top, the water is either too hot or the water is too cold, which means we waste water by getting the temperature right. And the third, perhaps when we are bathing, our hands are soapy and we are bathing ourselves with dirty water. So they're the kind of problems we may have. So what kind of improvements would you like to see? So one example is we want to decrease the amount of time it takes individuals to have a wash. So what could we do? Well, what tools do we need to do that? We install a shower unit. So that's our tool. That's the outputs required. So instead of having a bucket bath, the staff members or house members would need to have a shower. Now, all you need to do is turn the dial and you get instant hot and cold water in a combination that allows you to bathe a lot better. So we've got a problem. We've identified the improvements. We want to decrease the time. In order to deliver that, what do we need to do differently? Instead of having a bucket bath, we have a shower. And the tools, the outputs that are required are all shown here. The shower unit, the screen, the tray, and the toiletries. The challenge is we need to learn to take the bucket away. Because while the bucket is still in place, people will not change. And there probably be a tendency to drop the shower head in the bucket and bathe the same way. The time that you take to get people to transfer over, for that period alone, you might leave the old bucket in place. So during the period of transition, while people are learning a new way of doing things, you might have to leave the old element in place. But keep that transition period to a minimum time as possible. In terms of Brexit in the UK, the British government currently is talking about a 2-year transition period. Now, what is the right time for transition will only depend on experience and the complexity of that change. But ultimately, we've got to get people to move over from using a bucket to using a shower. And here are some of the challenges. As you see, an organization has implemented a hand dryer, presumably to decrease the amount of paper that is being wasted, or some other initiative reasons they must have had. But they've put that unit in, and at the same time, they've left the towels in. It's highly likely that in this organization, people are going to continue to use the paper towels and not change from the old way of drying our hands to the new way. Have you any idea how much that PlayStation cost? Because, okay, it may not be right for the individual to be playing on the PlayStation, but having spent considerable amount of time buying the PlayStation, we really would like this individual to move over. And while the books are still there, correctly or incorrectly, that individual will continue to read instead of playing on the PlayStation. So if nothing else, please, a challenge to you as operational managers is you must take the bucket away. And let's try and put that into some kind of a context. Remember, we said when you're looking at the initiative, you start with the problem and you end up with identifying the tools, the outputs that are required. But when you come to deliver it, we deliver left to right. So the first thing we would have in here is our output. So as discussed, we deliver the new shower unit. In addition, every member of staff or every member of family must be trained on how to use the output. Having done that, they will have the desired capability. We then need to change or transition from the old way of working to the new way of working. So instead of using a bucket to have a bath, we're now actually going to use a shower. And that is referred to as our business change, the outcome. It's a verb, and what we'll be saying is the members of the family are now using the shower. As a result of that, we see a measurable improvement, which is our benefit. So we decrease the amount of time it takes us to have a bath or a wash. That benefit may lead to a secondary benefit. So we can increase the number of bathing opportunities we can have. So you can have 3 or 4 showers a day, depending on what the weather is like or what kind of activity you are doing, because we have decreased the amount of time it takes individuals to have a wash or a bath. Referred to as our secondary benefit, and that then leads to our strategic objective, which is defined in our vision. So the vision statement would help us identify the benefits, which will work towards the change, which will get through the output. So we think right to left, but we deliver left to right. Now, whenever we have a change initiative, it's also extremely important to recognize that although we are delivering benefits, there are also equal and opposite disbenefits. If we increase the number of showers we have in the day, we will increase the amount of shower gel and shampoo that we use. We increase our maintenance, heating and water costs as well. Therefore, in any initiative, we need to balance between the level of benefits and the disbenefits that are being delivered. And if the number of disbenefits are greater than the number of benefits, the change initiative should not go ahead. Individuals that are being asked to change from the old way to the new way really do want to see what benefits they're going to get as a result of that for them to change. And they would be balancing the dis-benefits. Therefore, in order to take those stakeholders with us, we would need to discuss both the benefits and the dis-benefits. So we hope the approach that we have suggested you take in working through from the reasons to the outputs, it helps you deliver better change initiatives. In summary, we suggest you take charge of your change before that change takes charge of you. And as mentioned earlier, if there are any suggestions on how we can make this presentation better, then please do not hesitate to contact us through our website